right, so updates on the UAW strike. They're still on strike, and I just wanted to share these kind of hilarious / enraging clips that have been circulating. Let's start with Tim Scott. So he just gives the game away, right? Unions have been under assault for decades, and it really started under the Reagan administration. Listen to what he has to say here. And keep in mind as you listen that Republicans, writ large, conservatives, people like J.D. Vance, Trump, people like Josh Hawley, all the fake populists, Ted Cruz, they all pretend that they're pro-worker. They're the party of the working class. Remember when they said that at CPAC? We're the party of the working class now. How? It's just rhetorical. It's just vibes. They're not the party of the working class. Evidenced by all their policies, their voting record, and now we have Tim Scott just saying the quiet part out loud.
Ronald Reagan gave us a great example when federal employees decided they were going to strike. He said, "You strike, you're fired." Simple concept to me. To the extent that we could use that once again, absolutely. The second thing that I would do, though, is very important. This is it.
I like how there's laughter. Like, just fire them. Like, fuck the working class. Fuck the unions. Just fire them. Right? I also love that the two people behind him look poor as fuck. Like, they look poor as fuck. Like, why are you sitting there listening to this rich guy tell you that union workers should be fired? I mean, it's just amazing. And then the second part is Squawk Box guy, whatever his name is, pretending to be a neutral arbiter, but of course, taking the side of the bosses because it's CNBC and why wouldn't they? But just listen to how amazing this is.
Sharon Block, a former member. It's day 4 of the United Auto Workers strike against Detroit's big 3 automakers. Ford announced layoffs on Friday. That company and Jeep maker Stellantis will be back at the bargaining table today, but Union President Shawn Fain called Stellantis' latest 21% raise offer a no-go. Join us now, Sharon Block, a former member of the National Labor Relations Board. She's now with Harvard Law School, and Neil Bradley, Executive Vice President and Chief Policy Officer with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce.
He looks like a photo.
Chamber co-wrote a letter with
He looks like a wax statue. If he hadn't, like, blinked his eyes, I wouldn't have known any better.
Support to avoid a strike. The White House is, in fact, sending a team to Detroit today. And can I call you Professor now? Sharon, I'm going to call you Sharon. Is Sharon okay? Well, you can call me Joe.
Please call me Sharon.
Just call me to dinner. Okay. I don't like to take any, I don't know, amusement or satisfaction out of this, but it's so fascinating to me how the Biden administration and how you would recommend the Biden administration to approach this, Sharon. And we had Harry Wilson on last week. He was part of the task force back during
I just love the
crisis.
Chamber of Commerce guy.
And he said that the UAW has a point. They shared a lot of the sacrifice after that and have not really participated in the upside that was seen. So he can understand.
Yeah,
even
they
a
were
number
promised
like 40%.
that they were going to get
you point
back
out
to
about
a baseline.
The booming profits. And my question is, past performance is no guarantee of the future. Do you think the outlook is bright for the big 3 for booming profits that can...
He's like, booming profits are not, indicative of future success. Yeah, if that's the case, this is how you know this entire thing is bullshit. Because if that were really the case, that were really the concern, why did they all just get raises, all the CEOs? The reason why the union is asking for a 40% raise is because all the CEOs got a 40% raise. So miss me with, we're really concerned about the future. If you were so concerned about the future, then why are you giving your CEOs raises when they already make so much more than the workers, okay? Let's pause right here and look at this. How does this compare to regular worker pay? The gap between CEO pay and rank-and-file workers at all 3 companies is gigantic, okay? At GM, the median worker was paid $80,000 in 2022. It would take that worker 362 years to make Barra's annual compensation. Ford, same. Where the median pay is $74,000, it would take 281 years. At Stellantis, median pay is $64,000. or euros, it would take 365 years. Excluding that, the pay ratio is 298 to 1. Okay? So we're looking at workers' median pay would have to work 362 years to make the CEO's annual compensation. I mean, that is amazing. That is amazing. So you're so concerned about them getting paid too much and about the future, but you have no problem continuing to raise pay while the workers, who are the ones who create the product, don't get a raise. Okay, so, obviously that's a lie, but let's continue. Where is this clown?
Continue from here on?
See what she has to say.
Well, I certainly think that the outlook will be brighter if the companies treat their workers in a way that's fair. And there are a lot of variables that will determine the future of the auto sector. Let's remember that labor costs are actually a very small part.
It's only
of
5%.
These companies' costs. So to position what's going to happen at this bargaining table as determinative of the future success of these companies is not exactly accurate. But the companies have, over these past years, since 2007, when, as you recounted, the union did make great concessions to save this industry, the companies have increased CEO pay at a very rapid rate. They have given out billions of dollars in stock buybacks. So to now say, oh, we have to be so careful about the future and ask workers again to be the ones to absorb risk about the future, they'll be most successful if they come to the table in good faith and negotiate.
But a hobbled employer.
A hobbled Lamau. Yeah, they're hobbled. They're spending billions of dollars doing stock buybacks, which should be fucking illegal. But they're going to be hobbled. They're going to be hobbled if they don't make 350 times their average worker. I mean, she was right in everything that she said. She's being very, subdued, and I understand that because she's in this Shark Tank. But it's, so much worse than that. They lied. They said they were going to restore and keep their rates up with inflation, but of course they did not. It's just lie after lie after lie. And this is the lie, too, that they always tell to scare people because they don't want the American public supporting unions. So they have to lie. They say, oh, well, if that's the case, cars are going to go up. The cost of cars are going to go up so much. Playboy, the cost of cars has already gone up. Anyone who has a car right now knows that insurance rates are out of control, repairs are out of control, and the cost of cars is out of control. So those costs are already insanely high and getting higher with no increase in the wage of the employees. But you don't hear any of them saying, hey, look at this. We have insane high costs of cars right now, used and new. We really need to look at CEO pay. You never see that. You never see them be like, wow, our costs are going up a lot. Maybe we should take a look at how much we're paying CEOs or how much we're buying in stock buybacks. No, of course you don't. They blame it on the workers. They blame the workers for costs going up, even though, again, labor is only 5% of their total costs. But let's see. Let's see what Mr. Wax Statue has to say.
It doesn't help anyone. We know Ford lost $4 billion in trying to do the EV transition. We know that the Biden administration, it's on the cover of the New York Times today, the emission standards are going to be, in the next 10 years, almost prohibitively expensive for...
And that's also a very misleading statement because people are switching to EVs anyway. Those car companies want to switch to EVs anyway. This whole lie, there's a conspiracy that, EVs are trying to take over and they want to screw over taxpayers. It's okay, no. People are moving to EVs. The companies are moving to EVs because they see the writing on the wall and they want to be able to compete with other countries. It'd be like saying, when cell phones were invented, no, we have to stop with the cell phone invention because that's going to hurt the landline industry. No, shit moves forward. Okay.
For a lot of different industries. It seems at this point that they are facing a very daunting future, the UAW, and it doesn't help anyone if the automakers end up like they did several times in the recent past. And that's what I've heard the 7 or 8% of labor issues, but
we're gonna. It's not 7 or 8. It's 5, but we're gonna have to go because this ties into what Trump said, which we'll have to address later.
Do you think 7 or 8% is all that labor costs the UAW or the big three?
Well, no, and it's going to be a lot worse if you look at these UAW demands. I mean, it would be one thing if the focus were talking about how we share in the future growth and profit of the automakers.
But they're not.
But listen, the UAW is looking for a 40% pay raise. They want workers to be.
Why not? Those CEOs got 40% over the last 4 years.
They want to return to defined benefit pension systems. That
yeah,
is a recipe
yeah, because you guys took it away
put
from
these
them and said you would
companies into
restore it and never
bankruptcy,
did.
That serves no one interest. I think the question we have to ask is, why do they feel so emboldened? This actually isn't the first time we've seen demands like this.
Why do the CEOs feel so emboldened, and why doesn't anybody ask that?
Unfortunately, I think it's being fueled in part by the Biden administration and this push for unionization at all costs. And we saw a little bit of that in the president's remarks on Friday. So we're deeply concerned. We have to restore balance. Workers deserve a pay raise, but
we have to restore balance. Balance? You want to talk about restoring balance? Okay. If you want to restore balance, then maybe we should go back to when CEOs only made 60 times more than their average worker and not 300 times, if you want to talk about balance. But that's not what you mean. But continue.
Not the type of things that the UAW is demanding that's only going to result in these companies going out of business.
Unreal. Okay, so now we're going to go to this piss poor interview with Kristen Welker, in which she asks him a bunch of ridiculous questions and then doesn't follow up on any of them when he lies. But that's beside the point. She asks him about UAW. And this, again, is really revealing and shows that, like, people who support Trump don't actually care or give a shit about policy. It's just about vibes. It's just about rhetoric. Because Trump said he's going to go to Michigan and talk to the union workers despite the fact that he does not support them. He doesn't support them. He doesn't support their unions. He doesn't support the strike. He doesn't support keeping manufacturing in the United States. He outsourced more jobs in his administration, much more than Biden. Biden has actually brought jobs back. Okay, so let's listen to pro-working class, pro-worker Trump talk about the UAW strike.
And I want to start by talking about this big standoff between the auto workers and the big three auto manufacturers. My question for you, Mr. President, whose side are you on in this?
I'm on the side of making our country great. The auto
So
workers
the bosses
are not going to have any jobs when you come right down to it, because if you take a look at what they're doing with electric cars are going to be made in China. The auto workers are not going to have any.
Notice how he dodges the question. First, he goes on the side of making our country great because he doesn't actually want to say, yeah, of course I support the boss over the workers. He knows that looks bad. So he goes on the side of our country great. The second thing you'll notice is that he goes, they're not going to have jobs. It's going to be made in China. I thought you opposed NAFTA. I thought you opposed permanent normal trade relations with China. Weren't you the tariff guy? Weren't you the, I'm going to crack down on China to make sure they're not taking our jobs? But then when he's asked about supporting the union, he says, oh, they're going to be made in China. They're going to take our jobs. No, that's a policy choice. They don't have to. We can make them here. That's a policy choice. A policy choice that you said in your other campaigns that you opposed and you were going to tariff China because you wanted to protect American jobs. Now all of a sudden it's out of his hands. Now all of a sudden there's nothing he can do about it. They're going to take our jobs. They're going to take our jobs. Yeah, what happened to you, big man? I thought you were going to protect the jobs. Okay, so notice that.
I'll tell you what. The auto workers are being sold down the river by their leadership, and their leadership should endorse Trump.
Their leadership sucks, but they should endorse me. But also, again, he's out of touch with what's going on with the unions. Has there been leadership in unions that has been corrupt? Yeah, absolutely. That's why we've had such, piss poor labor participation. over the last couple decades or last couple administrations because a lot of them were corrupt. But we have seen a renaissance now of labor, of new labor unions forming with just regular people being the leaders. And the UAW only recently elected their new leader that they have now. They got rid of the old corruption. That's what he ran on, the leader now. And then they elected him. So he is new and they support him. But go off, King.
The reason is you got to have choice. Like in school, I want school choice. I also want choice for cars. If somebody wants gasoline, if somebody wants all electric,
this doesn't have anything to do with gas versus electric cars, big boy.
The consumer, and they're destroying the auto workers. The auto workers will not have any jobs, Kristen, because
no, what's destroying the consumer is the greedy CEOs. That is why they are striking. Understand this. They are striking to help the consumer and to help workers all over the country. That's why unions are good, because they help workers. So no, the bad guys in this, if you want to talk in rudimentary terms, are the CEOs, are the management class. But he is blaming the workers because he is trying to side with them without coming out and saying he sides with them.
Because all of these cars are going to be made in China.
Again, that's a policy choice. They don't have to be.
Are going to be made in China.
So let's talk about UAW.
I'm not going to push back. Let me just keep rattling on.
Has withheld his endorsement of President Biden. But this is what he had to say about you.
As he should. I think it's good that he's withheld the endorsement because Biden needs to do more. Okay, two things can be true at once. Biden has been the most pro-labor president that we have had in decades. But he hasn't done enough. He broke the railroad strike and shouldn't have done that. But on the good side, he has like the best Department of Labor we've had in decades. On the good side, he's supporting this UAW strike. On the bad side, he's not doing enough. He needs to do more. But go on.
Quote, another Donald Trump presidency would be a disaster.
True.
How did you win that endorsement?
Well, if that's the case, I probably won't win his. I don't know the gentleman, but I know his name very well. And I think he's not doing a good job in representing his union because he's not going to have a union.
He's been there for 5 minutes.
From now. Those jobs are all going to be gone because all of those electric cars are going to be made in China.
Thanks for watching. Stay up.
More fear-mongering. More fear-mongering. That's what they do. They fear-monger. All your jobs are going to be taken away. They're going to go to China. They're going to replace you. They're going to destroy the unions. Your cars are going to cost $1 million. What you guys don't understand, or what I'm talking mainstream media because they're total trash, is that they're going to do that anyway. They do that anyway. They try to outsource jobs all the time. They raise prices all the time. So who are you talking to? It's just amazing. Solidarity, again, to all the UAW workers that are on strike, to every worker that's on strike right now in any union. Do not listen to these liars. Don't listen to anybody in mainstream media because they have a financial incentive to take the side of the bosses. They're called corporate media for a reason. Like, the most insane thing you could ever do is listen to anything that professional wrong person Jim Cramer says. As he's saying that they should move their jobs to Mexico because they want to pay people $5 an hour. What happened to America first? What happened to America first? Not really. And don't believe any Republican who says that they are pro-working class or support workers. Really? Because have you gone to visit with the striking workers? John Fetterman did. Gary Peters did, the senator from Michigan. Where are you? Where are all these pro-working class Republicans? I love when you hear right-wing grifters go, there's been a political realignment. The Republicans are the party of the working class. Now, where? Where? Evidence? Where? None of them support it. All they do is they think that if they just put on a cowboy belt and a button-down shirt and go stand in front of people and squawk that they believe in working class rights, that means anything. It doesn't mean anything. They don't. They are the party, the Republicans, of the ultra wealthy, the elite. That's what Tim Scott is. That's what all of them are. Where's JD Vance? Why isn't he visiting with union workers? Right, because he doesn't actually support it. They're all just shills for their rich donors. That's it. All the Republicans. All of them. All right, thanks for joining me. I will have more. This is a new channel, so if you are into politics, culture, music, progressive politics, Christianity, follow me, share this video, help me grow my channel, and yeah, I'll see you next time.